How's it going, guys? Motor City Miner here, coming at you from my basement mini miner mining farm. And yes, that's because I'm going to do an update on my AL boxes. And, well, it's interesting. Today's video, trying to determine, what is my outlook on these things at this point? Is this maybe the worst decision I ever made? Is it gonna maybe work out for me? I don't really know yet. Obviously, if you've been watching Alephium's network hash rate, it's gone up considerably now that Bitmain and IceRiver have units and are currently testing and starting to ship them out in IceRiver's case, which we'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, as you know from the past, I have two of these AL boxes. The rest are other miners. But I got two AL boxes way back in May, about 3 months ago now. So these have been running for pretty much exactly 3 months each. So we're going to go over how much they have earned so far, how close I am to ROI, both in US dollar value, but also in yield if I had bought on the days I paid for these, and what I'm thinking the future outlook may be for these, because, it was a big risk. I'm not going to lie about that. I knew the risk going in, so, if it doesn't work out for me, I knew that was a possibility going in. But, now that it's been 3 months, I think it's a good time to check in, see where these are at, and with all the new ASIC miners and the hash rate increase, where I think these might end up at for myself as an investment opportunity that, came up back in May. Ideally, when we get into the numbers, we'll see this a little bit. I was really hoping that it'd be really more, maybe like another month or two from now, before other ASIC miners would come on the market. So it is the yield is down a little bit more than I had expected at this point. Again, there was just no announcements from anyone else at the time, so it didn't look likely that things would be shipping in August based on, I kind of looked at Kadena and Caspa miners and how long between announcement and release from the big manufacturers like Bitmain. And this time it seems a little more accelerated on their part, so that has, cut in. Plus, the entity was mining on Alephium, which kind of knocked down the yield on these pretty quickly at the start. I remember when these first were announced, they were earning, maybe it was, I don't even remember, 40 ELF a day each. By the time I even got them in May, the first batch from Goldshell, they were already earning only like 20 ELF a day because the entity had come online. But, it's not as bad for me being first batch, but obviously if you're after anything other than the first batch, Goldshell AL Box, not looking good right now. But yeah, let's head on over into the computer, see where things are at after 3 months, and what I think my outlook is on this investment, and maybe what I'm doing to try and alleviate any of those issues that I am starting to see with this investment. Dollar cost averaging, guys, works for miners, not just coins. So let's get into the computer and let's see how this goes. So we are in the computer now. As you can see, I have a couple different tabs pulled up. Got my pool tab where my two AL boxes are mining, my Alephium wallet that is exclusive for these two units that are mining to it, my ROI calculator, got some coin market cap, and also I brought up the ViperNet calculator. So let's get into it. As you can see, my two units still hashing along just as they should be, averaging a 720 gigahash over 24 hours. And again, these units got 360 gigahash at release. These are the AL Box 1 model, not the Box 2. Box 2 gets 720 each, but also doubles the power. So there's really no efficiency gain. It's just, honestly, they probably just put double the chips. Anyway, so you can see what we're doing these days. In the last 24 hours, I earned 9.5 ELF. So down significantly from the last time I did a video 3 months ago. And this is the estimate at the moment. Again, this estimate varies depending on the exact difficulty on the network at any given moment in time. So this, it just goes up and down. But this is what we've been mining. You can see my two AL boxes down below, and they're both right around their 360 gigahash advertised hash rate. I like Viperpool, so that's what I've been using. And I did help them through testing when I got my boxes originally to set up their pool for ASIC support. They did have a lot of issues at first, so I, working with them, me and one other person who were some of the first people to get an AL box, worked with them to get their pool working properly with AL boxes. So this is my ROI calc. As I said in my last video on
Caspa, I had to rebuild these spreadsheets from the ground up. I lost them, unfortunately, in that whole Microsoft debacle. Um, Anyway, so this is what we got. I added a bunch of things. You can see I even added in some AL0s. I did buy some of those, and we'll kind of get into why I did that later in this video. But they are in here now. They are not hashing yet. They have shipped for me, and I do plan to have an updated video once those arrive. But until then, we're just looking at our AL boxes and how they're doing. And I do plan to set up a separate address to mine to for my AL0s so I can track those separately. So let's get into these calculations. As you can see here, I have a bunch of sections that I have been adding at popular request. So I now have both how much I could have bought in Alethium if I had just used the money I spent on the days to buy any specific miner. And then I did that also for my IceRiver. So, the day, the average value from coin market cap on those days of the coin. And as you can see, if I had bought Alethium instead of buying my Goldshell AL boxes, I would have 5,756 Alethium. And if I had done the same with my IceRiver AL0s, I would have an additional 831 Alethium. Obviously, that's because the IceRiver AL0s are considerably cheaper. And bought many months later. And in total, if I had bought instead of bought miners, I would be looking to ROI on the yield side, 6,587 Alethium. So as I keep tracking my Alethium ASIC mining journey, when this yield does, or if it does, pass 6,587 Alethium, it was better for me to buy the miners. I am also tracking ROI on a USD basis, as you guys are familiar with in my videos. This is the one I've been doing for a while, but again, I wanted to add the yield because that is a popular request, and I think it is a good thing to track. Again, I will never really buy a coin. I like mining. I can write off my expenses, and you can resell the miner after, which is never factored into calculations. So even if I don't quite get to the 6,587 by the time I sell these miners, I will then sell these miners and get some ROI, additional ROI from the sale of the hardware. Anyway, again, you do your own research. I just prefer mining. I'm not a big, I don't like playing stocks. I don't like buying and selling and trading. I just like to mine. And then these calculations over here are the USD. So we're going to work on these today. This net value here. So you can see that I've spent $14,396 on Alethium ASICs. And that is my net. So once I start updating all these things with yields, since I started mining, we should start getting some values. So let's get into it. Hopping over to the Alethium Explorer, you can see as of right now, I have mined about 2,356 Alethium. So almost about 50% of if I had just bought with bought instead of mined with AL boxes. Again, I don't have any AL0s here yet, and I will track that yield separately on a separate address. But for my AL boxes from Goldshell, I'm right now at 2,356 Alethium. So we'll put that in 2,356. Close enough. We're not going to do all our decimal places. For the purposes of this calculation, it's close enough. Obviously, I'm going to have to update all my daily ELF number. I'm not getting 39.86 ELF from my AL boxes a day anymore. And the current value is not 1.62, which was when I started mining. Again, the value of ELF was a lot higher when I did buy the units, though. So just looking at that. So let's see what my daily ELF currently is. We'll just hop on over to there. And we'll use the most recent data because, again, the 24-hour estimate really is all over the place because it's going to, vary just based on the exact difficulty on the network at that time. So actual earnings in the last 24 hours, 9.5. And that's from 2 boxes, so 9.5. So we're down about, 75%. And then we're going to look at coin market cap for today's value. And I like to, if you go to the 1 year, versus all the other ones give you like exact hours in a day. If you go to the 1 year, it gives you the average value for that day only at a very specific time. So 824, if I go to 824, which is today's date while I'm recording this, the average value today so far has been 1.7268 US dollars. So we're going to put that in here. 1.7268. And while I'm at it, I'm going to update that over on this side as well. 1.7268. And we'll get to the FOMO calculator though, and update a few other things. So you can see daily ELF 9.5, current value ELF, where I stand currently. So my 2,356 ELF is worth $4,068, which is pretty much exactly what the calculator on my Explorer page is saying, plus or minus a couple dollars. Which puts my ROI on the US dollar side really not in a great place. As you can see, I am still negative $10,327. And well, we are about 629 days from ROI on the USD side. And honestly, this is probably the first time I've seen this in a while, where I'm much closer to my yield if I had just bought the coin ROI than my US dollar yield amount. And that is largely because ELF has crashed in price since I started and bought Alethium ASIC miners. So again, that's why people have asked for the yield number, and that's why I'm giving it here, because again, your USD value is going to follow your markets if you hodl. And right now, over this summer, crypto has been down. Really the high point was April-ish, March, April, maybe early May, and we've kind of been in a little lull since then. So, we're really far off on the US dollar ROI right now. Well, actually only being about a little less than half. Probably in another month, I'll be about 50% on the yield front. So that's what we're looking at right now on the US dollar front, is a very long time to ROI on these units still, like really long. I wonder, maybe for the next one, I'll make an additional ROI calc here that estimates how long until I ROI on the yield side. I think that'd be good to add. So we'll add that next time. That'll be in this spot here right below it. But for now, I don't have that information. And then other things to look forward to. So like I said, when the AL0s come, I'm definitely going to have a video on those or two. And you're probably like, well, why did you do those? Well, I bought them because their cost is so much lower. And just like buying coins, or how mining coins daily is kind of dollar cost averaging, buying miners over time at different values is dollar cost averaging your hardware. So it's looking less and less likely that I'll probably ever ROI either in yield or US dollar value on my AL boxes. Unfortunately, that was the risk I knew going in, and I was hoping that I'd have a little longer exclusivity with being the only ASICs out there. It's not looking like that's going to pan out. Right now, I would probably guess I'll probably get to about 70, maybe 80% ROI on the yield front. And once markets go up, about the same on the USD side. And that'll kind of be the plateau that those units reach at. But the IceRiver AL0s being so much cheaper and having actually slightly higher yield than the AL boxes, it really shouldn't be very hard for me to get another 831 ELF to ROI those. And once those are ROI, they effectively help ROI the other boxes. And essentially, we have dollar cost averages our unit. So instead of 6,400 per unit, essentially, if you took all these and look at the average, we're looking at, I spent about $4,000 on average on an Alethium ASIC unit, which is a much more achievable ROI. So again, dollar cost averaging works for really every part of the crypto business, whether you're buying and selling crypto, mining crypto, or buying equipment. You can dollar cost average your equipment. So I'll have more updates on that once we start mining with the AL0s. And like I said, I do plan to add in the calculator. That I think that'll be a good thing to see how soon until we get these ROI values on the actual yield front. So let's jump into our FOMO calcs, because I know you guys love those. Obviously, I have changed this to be AL0s because that is the best bang for buck. AL boxes are still way overpriced and they underperform an AL0, so I am going to assume now that you are buying $799 AL0s. So let's do some updates here. This one should be negative $799 because that's how much you would pay to buy one. If we go over, if we divide our daily ELF in half, this would be about 4.75. So 4.75 ELF a day for 400. Oh, I forgot. It's 400 gigahash, not 360 on the AL0. Apologies. Let me do a quick little calculator. That's why I had this sheet up. So let's do 400 gigahash. And we don't want per month. And we don't want Zell. Wow, I'm just pressing all the wrong. That's weird. I did click Alethium. I wonder why I pulled up Zell. There it goes. So let's do per day. And we're going to do 400 gigahash. And wow, it's just, this calculator just does not want to work right now. There we go, 400. And we'll do per day. And right now it's actually saying it's a little lower, 4.408. Again, this will depend on the exact difficulty on the network the second I, typed in this information. So maybe we will just use as an average 4.75 because that's half of what I am earning on mine. And it actually should be a little higher, I would expect. But for conservative estimate, we'll do 4.75. So that's a daily US dollar of 820, not too shabby. And days to ROI just under 100 at the moment, which is really good. So you can see how these two numbers in my case would, if I select both, cut my average for ROI down to about a year rather than this 2 years it's currently showing. So again, you can dollar cost anything, but if you were to buy an AL0 right now, we're looking at about 100-day ROI if the hash rate stayed the same. Obviously, it's not going to. Do not ever plan for it to. I generally, I would generally expect it to probably at least double, triple, maybe quadruple by the end of the year. Maybe we'll get up to 10 petahash. I'm not really sure. No one really knows, but I would at least probably double this at the moment. So I would expect an AL0 to have an ROI of maybe 200 days at the moment. Again, the hash rate on the network's looking very, very similar to what happened on Caspa a year ago. And there's in those first couple months, there aren't that many ASICs out there. Even now with IceRiver and Bitmain, those first batches tend to be small, and we have kind of seen a little bit of a plateau on the network. So if I hop over to our network statistics, you'll see that really in the last month, we've just been kind of hovering around the high 2 petahash to almost to 3 petahash. It's kind of just been stagnant there. And I expect that this is all the Bitmain and IceRiver units currently on the network, and then suddenly, uh, those will switch over to owners rather than testing. But it's really just an exchange of hash rate, and it really won't be until the batch 2 units start getting fabricated and testing that we'll see another bump. So I think we'll see this for a little bit here. So yeah, I think that's what we're looking at when it comes to earnings. Didn't mean to do that. So that's what I'm seeing at the moment. 100-day ROI if you FOMO'd an AL0, but you're not going to get it until sometime in September at this point. And I would expect the ROI to at least double to closer to 200 by that point as yield drops. And like I said, once I get my AL0s, we're going to start tracking those as well. And going towards this cumulative ROI of 6,587 Alethium if I had bought, or the $14,396 that I had bought in USD. Again, right now we're right around 4,000. So still got to earn a ton more, but we are on the move, and we'll keep you updated as those AL0s come in to the farm. So that's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed this content. Comment down below your thoughts. Have you bought an AL0? Are you going to? Did you maybe get an AL box or AL box 2? How is that going for you? Again, mine isn't going that great. You know, the risk just didn't work out this time, it's looking like. Maybe if they stay relevant well into next year, maybe I'll still ROI on the yield front or USD front. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, comment down below your thoughts and like, subscribe. And that's all I got today on my lithium ASIC mining journey. Until next time.